So my husband passed away unexpectedly last year. So it's March 4th was a 1-year anniversary for us, and he was 39. It completely took us all by shock.
Kouri Richins wrote a book about helping her children grieve after the loss of their father. Now she is charged with murdering him. Eric Richins died on March 4th of 2022 in his home in the Park City area of Utah. Police say he died of an overdose of fentanyl and that his wife Kouri poisoned him with a Moscow Mule. She was arrested this week and charged with murdering Eric and possession of a controlled substance. Court documents claim Kouri told police that she slept in one of her children's rooms the night Eric died without her cell phone and that she later found him dead. But the documents say her cell phone showed movement at that time and text messages from the time had been deleted. The documents also state that Kouri Richins had asked a drug dealer for, quote, some of that Michael Jackson stuff. Michael Jackson died of an overdose of propofol, a drug used in surgery as anesthesia. Just recently, Kouri Richins appeared on the local news in Utah to promote a book she wrote about grieving entitled, Are You With Me? She wrote that book for her 3 children.
I'm new to all of this, so kind of doing all, research and reading books and things to try and understand, not only how to grieve as a widow, as a wife, but also, with my kids, how to help them understand what just happened.
It's also been reported that Eric had written Kouri out of his will and that he actually believed that she was trying to poison him. The couple had also been arguing over the purchase of a home for $2 million, according to KPCW TV. Eric didn't want to buy the home, and Kouri closed on it the day after Eric died. She later resold it. Joining me to discuss the murder of Eric Richins is Greg Skordas. He is a spokesperson for Richins' family. Greg, thank you for coming on Sidebar with us. We appreciate it.
I'm happy to be here, Angenette.
How is Eric's family doing right now?
I think they're doing very well. I mean, he died in March of 2022, which is now over a year. Certainly, they knew at the time that he didn't die from a drug overdose that he himself had consumed. But they knew that it was suspicious, and they knew that something untoward had occurred. They're just happy now that the Summit County law enforcement community and the prosecuting office has filed charges. They believe that they're on the right track. They have confidence in the system, and they're just looking forward to some resolution in this case.
There are a lot of details coming out about this case. Kouri Richins, his wife, had written a children's book about grieving. It sounds a little bit shocking given the allegations in this case that she poisoned him.
Yeah, there's just a lot of ironies in this case, and it's really problematic. I mean, you can't make this kind of stuff up. And it took a long time. I mean, it was over a year between his murder and charges being filed, and that's not uncommon. I mean, I think the medical examiner's report had to be closely scrutinized, and witnesses had to be interviewed, and it just took a very long time. There's certainly a lot of ironies in this case with respect to her writing a book about grieving when it appears that she may have been involved in the homicide, that she may have committed it. And so the family's just torn because on the one hand, they wanted to believe in her. On the other hand, the truth as it's coming out is certainly problematic.
There's been some reporting and some documents that claim that, she had tried to poison him previously. She had asked a drug dealer allegedly for some of that Michael Jackson stuff. Michael Jackson, of course, died of a fatal overdose many years ago. Also, this argument and a dispute over the fact that she wanted to purchase a home for $2 million and he did not want to purchase the home. What can you tell us about that?
There were some problems between the two of them. They were related to finances. He came into the marriage as a successful businessman. And I think that she may have felt that if something happened to their marriage and he left her or she divorced him, that she wouldn't get as much of his estate as she would if he passed away. I don't know what her motivation is. We do know that a drug dealer was interviewed by police, and that drug dealer has confirmed that she sold the defendant drugs opioids on at least two occasions prior to the time that Eric died, and that the sort of the dosage that she was buying each time was getting apparently stronger and stronger.
And I'm assuming he did not use illicit drugs.
Eric never used drugs. He was a healthy man. He had no family history of substance abuse. He had no personal history of substance abuse, had no criminal history of abusing drugs, medical history, anything like that. There's no evidence that he ever used illegal drugs at all in his lifetime. And he was really a healthy man. I mean, he was avid in his kids' athletic activities. He was an outdoorsman involved in the search and rescue in the Summit County where he worked. He was a man who took very, very good care of himself and would not have abused his body with illegal opioids.
How are the children doing? I mean, there were 3 children that he had with Kouri Richins. Where are they and how are they doing?
They had 3 boys. They're apparently doing very well. They're with a close family member, and the broader family, feels like they're in very good hands, and they're with very, very good people right now.
One of the things that's so shocking about this, and I want to state that Kouri Richins, of course, is innocent until proven guilty. She'll be back in court later this month. But Eric Richins, according to the documents and things, he suspected or felt like she may have been trying to kill him. So that's some pretty damning evidence right there. The fact that he had these suspicions and then changed the beneficiary in his will and life insurance and things like that.
Yeah, there was some notion that he foresaw this, that he actually talked to some family members and said, if something happens to me, you should check out my wife, because he believed that she was trying to kill him. There were certainly some things going on between the two of them as it related to their marital finances, and just a culmination of things that ultimately resulted in, according to the county attorney's office, her deciding that he should be killed.
Well, we are certainly going to keep an eye on this case. It's really disturbing, the allegations that are being made here. Any final thoughts?
No, we just trust the system, and we're glad that this next step has occurred, and we're looking forward to the steps that occur from now.
All right. Greg Skordas, thank you so much for joining us.
You bet.
I also spoke with John Lucich about this case. He is an expert in computer forensics and also a retired police officer.
Well, I spent 5 years in uniform and the rest of the time as an investigator with the Attorney General's Office, Organized Crime Bureau, and I worked a lot of cases, including some homicides. And they have a lot of evidence against her right now, just in dealing with the drug dealer and dealing with the insurance company and partners, and her attempt to move things around. Um, that is just part of it, and that's an overwhelming amount of evidence. The fact that he was poisoned first, got very sick, and then she bought more drugs, and he passed away as a result of that. And I'm sure they're going to gather supporting evidence, such as the digital evidence that comes from cell tower dumps and cell phones and other digital devices. But the way I see this is that they've got a lot of overwhelming evidence against this woman.
It also discusses this complaint, talks about her phone. It showed it was locked and unlocked multiple times. And this was, movement recorded on the phone. I'm assuming that's the Cellbrite analysis of her phone. Is that right?
And so your phone tracks your health a lot of times. It tells you how many steps you've actually taken. We've actually worked a case where the phone was supposed to be off, and yet it was moving around. Somebody else was using this gentleman's phone. So there's a lot of artifacts on a phone. Now, an artifact could be one email message, could be one log, it could be one picture. But there are a lot of other artifacts that show that people were logging in, logging out. You can actually see that in the log, dates and times, as well as the movement, and so much other stuff that depending upon the apps that you have on your cell phone.
One thing that's interesting to me is that some of these messages, and that this always raises a red flag. You've got her calling 911, and there are messages sent and received according to this, but then they were later deleted.
Right. And they can tell that they were deleted. And while they might not be able to tell the exact second they were deleted, if it came in at 10:35 and 10 seconds, then and it was deleted, it was at least deleted at 10:35 and 10 seconds or after, right? But before the cops were able to gather that. So when someone takes the affirmative action to delete something, that's nefarious, right? They're trying to hide something. But a lot of times, Celebrite and other, forensic products could bring that back depending upon how long goes by. Because remember, we use our cell phones so much more than we use our computers. They're on all the time. They're with us, unlike our computers. And it's got the smallest storage space. So things get overwritten within days and weeks rather than weeks and years.
And that's it for this edition of Law and Crime Sidebar podcast. You can listen to and download Sidebar on Apple, Spotify, Google, and wherever else you get your podcasts. And of course, you can always watch it on Law and Crime's YouTube channel. I'm Angenette Levy, and we will see you next time.